Yeah, definitely a special moment. You only get one senior day, so you got to make the best of it.
Yeah, it's extremely bittersweet. I was crying this morning, but it's gonna
Cried
be a
last night.
yeah, it's gonna be a long weekend. So
What do you think about when you think about just y'all's journeys, through college basketball?
Shoot, I just think I've been through a lot. I've been in college this my 6 years, so has a couple injuries. I done been to a few different schools. I just think about everything that I've been through, how hard it was, how much I've sacrificed, but also how beneficial it was, and how much joy and I got to meet a lot of people and do a lot of things that basketball only take only basketball could take you there. So.
I would say the same. Like, oh my god,
Right.
no, like for real.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think y'all understand. Like, this is like really like bittersweet. Like, for real. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Oh my god. No, but like if you think about it, like everything. Oh, I don't even want to talk. It's too much. Okay, let's stop. Let me get this together. But okay, like if you think about it, just like all the blood, sweat, and tears, like a Dre, like you only get this one, you only get this chance one time, like and all the blood, sweat, and tears, like you pour into like just being great and trying to be the best, college athlete you can, like all the practices behind the scenes, like I'm thinking about that, like all the late nights in the gym and like you can't get that back, and so just I don't know, yeah. I'm sorry.
This was at the end of your career at Baylor, though. Like,
Yeah.
talk about kind of what Baylor has brought to both of you, both either on the court or off the court, because
There
you
you
have
go.
such different stories.
Baylor has made me such a better person. I think coming here, I don't say I was lost, but I was definitely trying to find my way. I was going through a lot mentally, and oh, I'm about to get emotional. Just coming here, like I said, it made me a better person. Off the court, especially last year, knowing that I couldn't play, I learned a lot about myself. And then now being able to play, only for a year, but it's been, like she said, bittersweet. It's been a lot of great moments here. And I think I've grown so much individually. I can't thank Baylor enough, honestly.
Yeah.
Has there been a favorite experience for each of you on the floor and maybe one off the floor as well that stands out to you right now?
On the floor, I think for me probably was when we beat Utah, because that was like where it all started for me. So it was just like a full circle, a very a big moment for me. Just super excited. Off the court, definitely the foreign tour. I would have never been nowhere out of the country if it wasn't for basketball and Baylor. So that experience alone was just super amazing. Probably my favorite thing was Santorini. Especially that last day we got to spend with
Nah,
my
yeah.
teammates. That was a great time.
I would say like opening up Foster playing against TCU. I think that was like, all right, like this is like a real like family like feel. This is a good community to play in front of, and it just really felt like they was on the court. I'm always say that like when I refer to Foster, and our six man was on the court. So I don't know. I just think that right there just let me know, like Baylor is actually a second home to me. Of course, it's not my first home regarding like institutions and universities, but I mean Baylor has become home for me. So it's gonna be sad to leave.
Trey, do you guys feel like maybe you kind of figured some things out in recent games and really kind of come together? It seems like you're playing good basketball right now.
Yeah, I think we had a moment where I wouldn't say fell off, but we definitely dipped down a little bit. But that's life. That's everybody goes through things like that. Every team goes through things like that. And I think for us, it was a great time for it to happen, because it was right before March. It was time for us to buckle down and get right. So we had to switch up some things, adjust some things, get to the drawing board. But now I feel like we're back to ourselves and we're playing Baylor basketball again. And it's just super exciting because it's the best time to be playing Baylor basketball right here in March. So.
Dre, what kind of impact do you feel like you have on the game when you come in off the bench? Seems like you've come in and like hit some shots right away a few times now.
I think honestly, I just bring energy. Even like though I'm not starting, I still bring a lot of energy coming off the bench. I'm used to it, sadly to say, but I did it at Kentucky, and I was coming off the bench all season at Kentucky. So it's kind of like the same thing, just coming in and bringing that fire. I know people think like, oh, a bench player's not supposed to come in and do, a lot of good things right away. But for me, it's just like, all right, come on, y'all, let's keep going, let's keep at it. We give the starters a break, and then I just come in and do what I have to do.
Aijha, how good is Jana playing right now?
No, Jenna's playing amazing for us. Like, she's been a big spark for us. Just what we needed coming off the bench. And she's just been that spark, that light, and that energy player that we need. She's really stepping up lately, so we're going to need it headed into postseason.
For both of you, it's emotional senior day, but you got to win the game. I mean, how do you put that aside and focus on winning the game?
We prepare now. We got practice today. We have practice tomorrow. We just prepare. We look at our scout, look at our film, and just work and practice hard. And then, like you said, we got to put the emotions aside. So after my parents and my family walk me out, I'll cry a little bit maybe. Don't tell anybody, I don't like to cry. But after that, then, we got to flip the gear and get right to it. We got to win on senior night. That's just the only way it happens for me, so we got to win.
Yeah, we can't take no L on senior night.
Exactly.
Great, thanks, ladies.
Thank you, guys.
Like, why would you want to be in real life these days? Like, I think that's like the part of the emotion, I think, for seniors today is like we create such a beautiful little like nest egg for them. Like, why would anyone want to leave? Like, why are student athletes playing 4, 5, 6, 7 years these days? Because college is pretty good to them, And so that's not your question, but I think that a lot of it is hard. When it comes to the end, it's like, what's next? I think it's scary. I think that's scary for probably all students, but I think students start preparing for that sooner. Student athletes are like so focused on their sport. Yes, they're about getting a degree, but they're not thinking about the internship they're doing to get the job. Like, so many students at Baylor have jobs before they ever graduate, so they know what's next. And I think, that's just a different tangent altogether. But I do think it's just never been harder for student athletes to even want to leave.
With those two, I mean, they've both had such unique journeys. What do you feel like is probably going through their heads just thinking about the last, 4 or 5 years?
Wow. I wish I could know what's going through their heads sometimes. I do. I think they have had unique paths. Dre's maybe in some ways more unique than Aijha's, because Aijha had such amazing success, but you can say that. I mean, Dre was the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year, but went through a knee injury and sat out. And, but I think I think it's so hard because when you're young, it doesn't matter how many times I say this, and I say this from a place of, like, I've been there, like when you're a freshman, you think like, oh, there's so much time. Like, you don't really understand how quickly 4 years, 5 years, or even in the case of Dre, 6 years can go. And so, I think they both chose Baylor for a very specific reason. I think it was a chance to win. I think it was a chance to grow, to be ready to play at the next level. I think Aijha's injury put a huge swerve in the road, a big detour, and I don't think Aijha's even back yet to the player she was when she got injured in November of 2022. Because I think that Aijha had more bounce. That Aijha, was going to the line like a crazy person. I mean, we hadn't played, kind of our tougher opponents yet, but that Aijha was like mentally dominant, like when she stepped foot on the court. And I think that's been a unique challenge for her because I think she's had a lot of adversity off the court in her life, but I don't think she had a lot when it came to on the court, and working through an injury and understanding what it takes. And if you don't have one part of your game maybe isn't as strong as it once was, how do you develop another part of your game? They talk about Kobe Bryant being someone that, he started as this athlete, but by the end of his career, he had to be a great jump shooter. He had to be a great mid-range post-up player. He had to create aspects to his game. And so I think, I don't think Aijha's where she wants to be. But it doesn't mean she can't still get there. It doesn't mean that her pro career isn't going to be a long one. It's going to look differently than we thought. I mean, I thought the kid would be here 9 months, and we were sending her to the first round of the 2023 WNBA draft. Like, that was my hope for her. But I think the nature of trying to figure out if we could get her back last year, pushing her, and then shutting her down. Like, I just think it was even not even a normal, typical rehab process, because the original injury, rehab great, she came back, and then we just had all these issues after that. So it didn't present the same way as a typical situation with her that I know we've never been really allowed to discuss her medical history. So I still can't, but it just didn't, there was a process that was very normal, and then it became abnormal. I think Dre's, not getting eligible last year impacted her a lot, because I think if she could have played for us even from the semester on last year, there wouldn't have been so much pressure in her mind to have a perfect year to get where she wanted to go. And I think they both have had really good years, and I think a lot of our goals are still on the table. But I think even from they both probably thought they'd score 20 points a game, this year. And I just don't think that's the nature of this team, that's going to happen. I think they came here to prioritize winning. Aijha still never played in an NCAA tournament, and I think that is still a big thing for her. Here it is year 5, and all the individual success she had at Missouri, she never played in an NCAA tournament. So I think that's going to be really, really special for her, and probably really emotional.
Is Sarah still undecided on what she's doing?
I'm going to let Sarah tell you guys that.
How about just the way this team has played recently? I mean, do you feel like y'all are starting to maybe play some of your best basketball?
Yeah, I still think that best basketball game is still yet to be played, but I'm seeing a lot of the team that was rolling in November. That's, I think I told Derek this, before the last broadcast, our practices in Cincinnati were as good as any practices we've had since October. I just feel their energy is different, their camaraderie is different, their pace was different, just in general. We were going through practice, and I went over, and Tony was sitting down, and I'm like, our team's back. You could just feel it. It was visible, and I don't, like I said, I don't know. They went into a midseason hibernation. I don't know if the groundhog, not seeing his shadow, helped get us out of it, because spring is coming. But, it's you do want to be playing. You don't want to peak at the wrong time, but we certainly put ourselves in a position to not be competing this last weekend for a conference championship, which is disappointing. But I feel like we have a chance to make a lot of noise. And I do think we have a chance that we're starting to see it. We're starting to play good basketball. We're starting to share it again. I thought until we got too comfortable, with the lead at Cincinnati, I felt like, defensively we were getting after it. I think you always lose it when you're in constant substitution patterns. You just don't have that same flow. I think Jana obviously has been a big, I don't know if she's been the catalyst. I don't, you don't want to mark one particular thing, but I do think her ability to shoot the ball, her pace, her ability to play with the ball in her hands or off the ball. I mean, 2 of her baskets came in transition just running ahead on the wing. So she puts pressure and pace just by being relentless in her fitness levels, and when we secure a rebound, she's not leaking out early. She's just running harder than the person next to her. So I think she's helped create a lot of pace, and I think her confidence shooting the basketball is really important for our offense. I think it's really important for our offense, especially considering our most likely path to a championship in the conference tournament. We're going to have to be able to make shots.
What kind of impact does it have when you bring that player off the bench and it's your leading scorer? What kind of impact does Dre had, coming into games?
Yeah, I think, I think she's fresh. She's a rim runner type. She's going to get you a rim run layup. What I like about Dre over the last couple of weeks is she's gone back to the low block occasionally. Dre did most of her damage before she got here on the low block. And she's a little unorthodox, but really effective. And I think, wanting to prove that she can pick and pop and, play on the perimeter, I think she's proven she can do that. But when push comes to shove, paint points are really important. And, so being able to mix it, being able to, she was falling in love with picking and popping, and we were begging and begging and begging to roll, just roll to the rim. We've got to put 2-on-1 pressure, and get back to playing. Teams are switching us, and you're bailing them out by popping, or you can have a little guard you on the perimeter, and we may get the shot, but you shoot over 50%, inside 5 feet. And so really getting her to play inside out has been really important. I think coming off the bench, she and Jana in particular are bringing pace to the team when they come in. So you got Dre rim running, you got whether Jana's pushing it with the ball in her hands or on the wing. I think they've worked together in pick and roll situations. Jana's done a good job hitting her on the roll. And so, I just think she's bringing kind of a different energy when she comes into the game. I don't think she wants to not start. I'm not, but I think, when you make a change and you're 4-0 and you're playing the best defense that you've played the season, and you made that change to get off the good defensive starts, it allows her to come in the game, maybe with them 4 minutes in, and the other team's a little tired. Now she's getting a rim run. Now she's fresh and can be physical on the low block, both offensively and defensively. I think her back has impacted her defensively as well. Some of the back issues she's had this season, I think, have made it a little more of a challenge for her to defend on the perimeter. And so this keeps her kind of defending the low block more, but keeps her fresher. So I think it's been good for the team. I don't think there's any player at this point in their career that prefers, coming off the bench, And I think the ones who say they do are probably saying it because they think it's what they're supposed to say.
What differences have you seen in Oklahoma State from the first time you played them to this point in their season?
Yeah, I don't think a lot. I think they've been a little like we were in middle of the season. They looked really, really good against OU in the first quarter, almost to halftime, and then OU puts a run on them, and they couldn't sustain. So really good minutes. I think they've gone to more 4 out, 1 in with gusters, and learning to play a little bit more like Kansas State does when they have Lee. Some staggers on the perimeter, but also ultimately a lot of ISOs for gusters. I think she's playing a little bit more as the season's gone along from a fitness perspective. So, I think they're playing around her better, utilizing her when people double. She's a decent passer out of the double. They're continuing to mix man and zone, but still primarily a man team. I think they just compete. I think JC's someone that gets them to really, really compete. I think they do a good job scouting. I think they're good in pick and rolls. I think they have good spacing. I think, it's a league full of really, really good freshmen. So it's every time you think how good is Staley Hurd, and then you think, okay, is she? I haven't voted yet. But there's more than 5 of them. That's the crazy part. Last year, it was Bella and Bug's race to freshman of the year type situation. And this year, when you start thinking about the Staley Hurds, the Audie Crooks, the Samaya Nichols, the Maddie Bookers, you just go on and on and on. It's just Whiting's had a good season for BYU. Wilson's had a good season for BYU. It's just a really good group of freshmen in this league. But I think part of our success in the last game was getting Hurd in foul trouble because she's their most versatile offensive and defensive player. So her kind of being out of the game most of the game impacted, made Quincy Noble more of a scorer, made people have to take more shots.
With the recent wins, it seems like you put yourself back in the picture of maybe hosting first and second rounds.
Yeah, I don't want to jinx us, but I do. Like, I think our resume is really good. I think our net is in good position. I don't think it's any kind of given. I think obviously we weren't in the top 16 reveal, the last one the NCAA did. I don't know if that means we're on a 5 line or we're a 6 line right now. But I think we can only control the one game that we have in front of us. But I do think a deep run puts us in position where we're going to play a couple more top 25 teams that, OU moved into that top reveal. And so, I think, you got to keep winning. But I do think we've put ourselves in position if we go win in the conference tournament, that we've got a shot. And I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means playing the championship. I don't know, I don't know what it means. But I do think we have as many good wins as anybody in the country. And so I know a year ago, most people had us on the 8-9 line, but I really think they took into account our road wins against Kansas, against Iowa State, against Texas, and moved us up a line. So I do think our schedule is favorable. I mean, we're the last team to play Utah, with really their whole complement of players. And so, I think the number of really good teams that we've beaten should come into play at the end of the day. But we got work to do. But it'd be great to host in Foster, no question.
Thanks.
Thank you.